Disappointing news about the House of the Dragon Season 3. What if I told you that just when we thought House of the Dragon Season 3 was going to save us from our content drought, HBO decided to hit us with news that made every fan simultaneously scream into the void? Yeah, we need to talk about the elephant in the room, or should I say the dragon that is taking way too long to arrive. Grab your emotional support, direwolf, because this one stings a little. Do not go anywhere, though. Hit that subscribe button and smash the notification bell so you are always in the loop when we break down the latest Westeros news, even when it hurts our feelings. Alright, let us rip the bandage off. The disappointing news that has been circulating is about the release date for House of the Dragon Season 3. And spoiler alert, it is not coming as soon as we hoped. We are looking at a potential 2026 release window, which means we are staring down the barrel of a 2-year gap between Season 2 and Season 3. 2 years. That is 730 days of waiting, theorizing, re-watching, and slowly losing our minds while HBO takes their sweet time delivering more Targaryen chaos. I mean, come on. By the time Season 3 drops, we will have forgotten what sunlight looks like because we will have aged in our chairs waiting for more dragons. Now, before everyone grabs their pitchforks and marches to HBO headquarters, let us talk about why this is happening. Because context matters even when the news makes us want to throw our televisions out the window. The primary reason for the delay is production scale. House of the Dragon is not some procedural cop show that can crank out 24 episodes a year while everyone sleeps. This is a massive, sprawling fantasy epic that requires an obscene amount of time, money, and coordination. We are talking about months of pre-production, months of filming, and then even more months of post-production to make those dragons look like they could actually eat your enemies. The visual effects alone are a logistical nightmare in the best possible way. Every dragon scene you see on screen represents hundreds of hours of work from talented artists who are painstakingly animating these creatures, rendering them into live-action footage, and making sure they look photoreal. You cannot rush that process without sacrificing quality. And honestly, we do not want another Game of Thrones Season 8 situation where things feel rushed and half-baked. We want the good stuff. We want dragons that look incredible. We want battles that make our jaws drop. And apparently, that takes time. A lot of time. An annoying amount of time. But here's where it gets a little more frustrating. Part of the delay is also tied to scheduling conflicts with the cast and crew. These actors are in demand. Emma Darcy, Matt Smith, Olivia Cook. They are all booking other projects, doing press tours, living their lives like they are not personally responsible for our serotonin levels. The audacity, right? But seriously, coordinating the schedules of an ensemble cast this size, plus the directors, writers, and technical crew, is like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube while riding a dragon. It is complicated, and sometimes it just takes longer than anyone wants. Then there is the writing process. The showrunners have made it clear they are not interested in rushing the story just to meet arbitrary deadlines. They want to adapt Fire and Blood faithfully while also making sure the pacing works for television. That means taking the time to break down each episode, figure out which storylines to prioritize, how to structure the season for maximum impact, and where to place those gut-wrenching cliffhanger that will have us all losing sleep. It is a deliberate, thoughtful process, which is great for the quality of the show but terrible for our impatient little hearts that just want more content now. Another factor contributing to the delay is the sheer ambition of Season 3. If you have read Fire and Blood, you know what is coming. We are talking about some of the most iconic and devastating moments of the Dance of the Dragons. Major battles with multiple dragons. Character deaths that will break the internet. Political maneuvering that makes Season 2 look like a warm-up. The production team knows they have to nail these moments, and that means giving themselves enough time to do it right. They cannot half-commit to the Battle of the Gullet or rush through the fall of King's Landing. These are moments that fans have been waiting for, and the pressure to deliver is enormous. But let us be real for a second. While all of these reasons are valid and understandable, it does not make the wait any less painful. 2 years is a long time in the streaming era. We have been conditioned by Netflix and other platforms to expect new seasons within a year, maybe 18 months maximum. Waiting 2 years feels like an eternity, especially when you are emotionally invested in characters whose lives are hanging in the balance. We ended Season 2 on some massive cliffhanger, and now we have to sit with that tension for 730 days. It is cruel. It is unusual punishment. It is basically the television equivalent of being told, "We will discuss this later," and then never hearing about it again. And here is another layer of disappointment: the competition. While we are sitting here waiting for House of the Dragon, other fantasy shows are filling the void. The Rings of Power is continuing. The Witcher is doing its thing. New fantasy projects are being announced left and right. There is a very real concern that by the time Season 3 finally arrives, the cultural conversation will have moved on. The momentum from Season 2 could cool off. Casual viewers might forget details or lose interest. In the hyper-competitive streaming landscape, a 2-year gap is risky, and fans are worried that HBO is fumbling the bag a little bit here. Let us also talk about what this means for the overall plan for House of the Dragon. The show was originally envisioned as a multi-season arc that would cover the entire Dance of the Dragons. If we are looking at 2-year gaps between seasons, that means the complete story could take a decade to tell. A decade. We will all be significantly older, grayer, and possibly more cynical by the time this saga concludes. And while that epic, long-form storytelling is part of what makes these shows special, it is also exhausting to think about committing that much time and emotional energy to a single story. Now, it is not all doom and gloom. There are some silver linings here. The extended production timeline means the creative team is not cutting corners. It means the visual effects will be top tier. It means the writing will be polished and deliberate. It means we are getting the best possible version of this story, even if it takes longer to arrive. Quality over speed is a mantra we should probably embrace, even when it hurts. And let us be honest, we have already waited this long. What is another year in the grand scheme of things? We are all going to watch it anyway. We are all going to binge it in one sitting and then immediately demand Season 4. That is just how this works. There is also the possibility that HBO will throw us a bone with some supplementary content while we wait. Behind-the-scenes documentaries, cast interviews, animated shorts exploring other parts of Targaryen history. Anything to keep us engaged during the drought. They did this with Game of Thrones, and it helped maintain interest between seasons. We can hope for something similar here, even if it is just crumbs compared to the full feast of a new season. But at the end of the day, the disappointing news is still disappointing. We wanted Season 3 sooner. We wanted to dive back into the chaos, the betrayal, the dragons, the drama. Instead, we are getting a waiting game that tests our patience and makes us question our life choices. Why do we do this to ourselves? Why do we get emotionally attached to television shows that take years to produce? Because they are worth it. Because when House of the Dragon finally returns, it is going to be glorious. And we are going to forget all about this frustration the second that opening theme starts playing and the dragons take flight. So yeah, the news is disappointing. The wait is brutal. But we are in this together, and we will survive until 2026. Probably. Maybe. Hopefully. Just keep rewatching the existing episodes, reading the books, and joining us here for all the theories and breakdowns to keep the hype alive. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.